My name is Dr. Rose Misati. I'm a public health specialist, behavior change expert, certified life coach, relationships counselor, and parenting coach. I'm a director of Effective Parenting Company Limited. We help people deal with their past hurt so that they can learn to manage their feelings, handle conflict, clarify life goals as they lead, so that they can lead effective lives as they enjoy fulfilling relationships. What are the effects of trauma? We have already seen that trauma is the body's response. So we will begin with the effects of trauma on the brain. And the effects of trauma on the brain come as a result of the release of stress hormones when one is faced with a traumatic event. So the body releases stress hormones. The body releases, one of the stress hormones that the body releases is called cortisol. And the cortisol has an impact on a part of the brain called hippocampus. I am giving this big word so that I can illustrate something. So the hippocampus is the part of the brain that is in charge of memory and learning. So when the cortisol touches, or rather when it has an impact on the hippocampus, this part of the brain shrinks in size. And so you find when an individual has gone through a stressful event, they are challenged when it comes to memory and learning. This is important because when we have, particularly children, have gone through trauma and they go to school, a lot of them, you find that they are branded, that they are not intelligent, they are not bright, they are struggling with the studies, but it's because of the effect on trauma, the effect on the brain, the effect of trauma on the brain. So another hormone that is released as a result of a traumatic event is adrenaline. And what adrenaline does, it cranks up a part of the brain called the amygdala. This part of the brain is the part of the brain that is responsible for emotional response. Let me just simplify it to say fight and flight. So when somebody is faced with a traumatic event, they want to flee, maybe they want to run away, or they want to fight. Picture it like if you encountered a lion. The impulse may be to run away or to fight the lion, many times to run away. And so the amygdala is the one that is responsible for this. So when this part of the brain gets charged because of trauma, what happens is that the individual is always on a fight or flight mode. That even ordinarily when an event does not warrant a certain reaction, they overreact. So this is how trauma affects the brain. Now, another part of the brain that is affected by trauma is the part of the brain called the prefrontal cortex. And this is the part of the brain that is responsible for reasoning, thinking, focus, and decision making. So this part of the brain actually goes offline. So what are the effects of trauma on the body? The effect of trauma in the body includes, but not limited to, anxiety, panic attacks, hypervigilance, restlessness, lack of sleep. Sometimes somebody even experiences irritable bowel movements. Sometimes there's increased heart rate. There is somebody experiences sweating episodes. And the effects, as I said, can be wide and varied. But those are some of the effects of trauma on the body. And the body is controlled by the brain. So as trauma affects the brain, then it will affect the body, how the body is responding to normal daily occurrences. I want to emphasize on one of the effects of severe trauma, particularly on children, and this is called dissociation, where somebody literally gets outside of their body. A gentleman shared an example of having gone through a traumatic event, and one time the father accused him of stealing a book. And so what the father did, he burnt a knife. He put a knife on fire. The knife became red hot, and he just tried to cut him with the knife. This young man says he didn't feel any pain. Looks strange, but true. The following day, he discovered he was severely burnt by the hot knife, but he never felt any pain because of the extreme and chronic trauma that this young man had been going through. The body had this habit of dissociating from his brain. So he completely would not feel any pain. And this happens in extreme trauma, and it's a way of preservation. You know, the body keeps a score. There's a book like that where the body keeps a score. As the body is going through traumatic events, you will find that there needs to be preservation. There needs to be some sort of protection. So you will find sometimes even a child saying something like, I was being abused, I was being beaten by my parents every day, and I would literally go on the roof. I would be hiding on the roof. They would be there, they are being beaten, but they are not feeling pain. And this is really, it happens. And sometimes parents or caregivers would say, this child is rude, because the child simply becomes numb and they don't feel any pain. The parent continues beating the child, but the child doesn't feel any pain. So that is dissociation. So the effect on somebody is that they are not emotionally present. You will be talking to them, they are in a daze. They are not hearing you, they cannot feel, they feel nothing. So that is one of the severe effects of chronic trauma on an individual. In case you notice that you need help, you may have gone through a traumatic experience, or as I have spoken, you feel you can identify with some of the things. Leave the comment below, we will get back to you. Please feel free to share this video to other people so that it can help. Sharing is caring. Let's have a healed community. That way we can enjoy healthy and fulfilling relationships with everybody. I normally say, I'm not okay until the other person is okay. So even if you're okay and the other person is not okay, we are not okay. So please leave a comment. We will get back to you. We will be glad to be of help to you.